Hey everyone, hope you guys are enjoying Monster Hunter Rise or Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak in whichever platform you're choosing to play it on. And today we're going to be going over pretty much everything that we expect to see regarding Capcom's digital presentation for the 5th free title update. If for whatever reason you haven't been keeping up, on April 19th or essentially next Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. East Coast Time, or 3 p.m. British Standard Time, this digital presentation will be airing. It will be about a 10-minute presentation where Capcom will finally be showcasing all the things that we're going to get for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak's final free title update. And yes, indeed, it will be the last one. I hate to repeat that again, but people always ask in the comments, is this the last one? Yes, it is. Now, a few days ago, I put up a video pretty much discussing all of the information that we have regarding monsters for the data mines. Now, I'm going to be going over that a little bit faster. I'm not going to get into all the minutiae that I did in that video, just going over pretty much names and stuff like that. But in this video, I want it to be a little bit of a catch-all and what we expect to see regarding the presentation itself. Since it will be presented by Fiorane, the voice actress, of course, here in English or in Japanese, the presentation will be the same and is relatively short. We expect them to just quickly kick into a trailer. Trailer is about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long. Showcase the monsters, showcase highlights, tell us a little bit about a couple of things that are going to be added, a lot of quality of life improvements, which we'll be going over in a second, and then they'll just go over into a longer version of that trailer for about 6 or 7 minutes. They'll tease most likely something that you might not necessarily expect. I wouldn't expect there to be a 6 free title update reveal regarding the roadmap. A lot of people are expecting that to happen. I wouldn't bank any money on that, realistically speaking, but then that would be pretty much it. Now, first and foremost, I want to discuss the things that Capcom has confirmed on their own right out of the gate. These are things that we have been getting from Director Suzuki directly as part of the weekly free title update reveal details that they give us. And a couple of those things are, of course, the confirmation of, originally it started with, you will be able to search whenever you're crafting for whatever decoration it is that you wish to craft based on either the materials that you're using or the decoration type that you want to have. So you're going to be able to have a brand new search option for decos. You don't necessarily need to go through the entire search. There will be a bunch of new pages for decorations. I think we discussed something around like 36 pages of decos. They are being reformatted a little bit, so that is probably why they're adding a search functionality for decorations. Now, on top of that, when they revealed that information, they of course teased us with the fact that there would be a bunch of brand new decorations. I went over a bunch of those in a previous video, but we're simply looking at things like Thrift Jewel +4, Bludgeoning Jewel +4, Attack Jewel +4, Expert Jewel +4, Trigger Jewel +4, Intrepid Jewel +3, Emboldened Jewel +4, Inspiration Jewel +1. On top of that, of course, we also got a little bit of a teaser for the Shockproof Jewel 1, which is pretty much, kind of like one of those jewels that are going to make everything else obsolete. So you will not be able to get tripped or damaged, and you will not be able to cause trip or damage to other hunters if you have that equipped. So essentially what you need is, every hunter equipping that, level 1 deco, and you're pretty much going to be flinch free the entire time, not just versus you or you versus everyone else, which is going to be extremely helpful for a lot of other player options. Now, moving away from decorations a little bit, we also have the confirmation from Capcom directly that new Curious Melding options will be added in, Curious Melding Vigor and Curious Melding Cyclus. One of these will be using afflicted materials, presumably it will be Cyclus or both. Vigor, we don't quite necessarily know there, but at the end of the day, you will be having the option to use all of those afflicted materials from Anomaly Investigation Quest that you're most likely stocking up, whether you're using them for Curious Melding or not, or Curious Crafting or Anomaly Investigation Armors or whatever. At the end of the day, chances are you're just kind of stacking those materials and you're not using all of them. Now you will be able to spend them. Each one of them will have their own value, and you will be able to have the option to be able to do that. Now, Vigor, of course, will be the one that will become kind of like the new standard, where I believe Cyclus is the recycle one, so you can only use the talismans that you got from Vigor to recycle Cyclus. So I believe something along the lines of like you give it you will spend talismans, I believe 10 talismans to be able to get 3 back. No different than what some of the other options that we had. I believe it was reincarnation in the past. So they are basically will work no different than Anima and reincarnation. Anima, you would just spend normal materials to be able to get it. If you didn't like any of those things, you recycle those 10 talismans or that were kind of crappy. You use them in reincarnation, and then you kind of like, you know, get something new. So Cyclus will be the one for, you know, recycling old ones or new ones that you get from Vigor, and essentially that will be the case. Now, a lot of people have asked, will you be getting brand new skills from these talismans? And the answer is yes. Now, the list of those skills is still uncertain because, of course, that doesn't appear in the mines, so we don't have a direct answer for that as of right now. But essentially, new skills will be appearing in your talismans. Well, what does that mean at the end of the day? Does that mean the God Charm that you got or the God Talisman that you got before becomes a little bit obsolete? And the answer is simply put yes, because there will be more value tier, like for example Power Mantle appearing now as a melding option. Now, of course, do you want to have plus attack or plus, you know, Power Mantle available to you? You can put plus attack through normal decoration slots, and you can even do it through curious crafting, you know, like the normal melding for your armor, and that's going to become an option at a later point as well. But you know, you'd rather be able to get a talisman, which already is going to give you chances are +2, you know, so it's going to be extremely powerful to do that, where you have to re-roll for curious crafting to be able to get that +2 somewhere else. So yes, talismans are going to be pretty broken if you happen to get a god roll through that. Now, at the same time, we also have the confirmation that weapon balances are coming. Now, we don't necessarily know which weapons balances are going to be available. We do know, thanks to the post that they shared originally, that Great Sword will be balanced. We also know Hammer is also going to get adjusted through some of the Wire Bug, Silk Bind attacks that it has. So, you know, some of those changes are coming. Presumably, every weapon is going to get balanced one way or another. And we do know that a lot of them are going to be specifically tied to Wire Bug or Silk Bind attacks. So that is pretty much what we're expecting there to come. Whether those changes will be massive or not, we don't necessarily know. But of course, at the end of the day, all changes will be helpful. And just to circle back really quickly regarding anomaly investigations and curious crafting, you will be able to search through a brand new search functionality for those materials whenever you're doing curious crafting searches as well. So at the end of the day, they're going hogwash on giving you a bunch of options to be able to go ahead and search materials and speed up the crafting process. Now, one of the latest updates that they provided us with was the fact that you will be able to see, as part of the story changes and presumably the closing of the entire story, there will be brand new cutscenes. They provided us with an image where they essentially tease us that there will be, you know, they were doing some audio recording for like voice actresses or voice actors. So of course there will be entirely brand new cutscenes being added in. Since your character is going back to Komura Village to be able to fight Amatsu, chances are they're gonna kind of bringing the gang all together and give us a little bit of a brand new set of cutscenes. At the same time, under the latest post that I covered, maybe even yesterday's video, the video before, is of course this brand new either Komura revamped armor set or an USJ collaboration armor being teased. We don't necessarily know, or it could actually be both. They went ahead and also teased that, so I covered that just yesterday, maybe the day before. Now, the last thing, of course, that I want to quickly touch upon is, of course, the monsters themselves. Now, like I said at the top of the video, I made a video covering pretty much all of the stuff regarding the monsters a few days ago. I'm going to be leaving a link in the description below for you guys to check that out for yourselves, as it's extensive. I did a lot of research to make sure that I cover everything as best as possible. But simply put, we are getting Risen, Shagaru, Magala. This monster has been in the mines for quite a while. We have been expecting it to show up, so it's not necessarily that much of a surprise if you have been kind of paying attention on that. But if you hadn't, of course, you know, it is a little bit of a surprise to you. Someone did ask me recently, why don't I actually put screenshots of the mines themselves? And the answer is because Capcom will nuke the ever-living hell out of my channel if I did that. So I'm not about to run that risk. I did that in the past and it did not pay off. So And also, I don't want to upset them. I have a relatively good relationship with Capcom now. I'm not about to ruin that. So other than Shagaru Magala, of course, Amatsu will be the big closer for this actual 5th free title update. And that's, again, kind of a given. We've known about that for quite a while. A lot of people have kind of pseudo-teased it. It has showed up in the mons as an achievement reward once you take it down. This is why presumably we think that the cutscenes that they will be presenting most likely will be talking about, you know, the entire Amatsu event. There will be an entire thing leading up to it. So, of course, we expect that to be the case. Other than, of course, his normal monster intro, which will be, of course, a brand new one. Of course, there will be an arena tied to him as well. So this is something that we didn't really get to touch upon in the previous video, but of course, a brand new arena, or maybe a returning arena, will be tied to him as well. Now, the thing here that probably a lot of people were leaving me questions on was Malzeno EX. And to this day, I cannot necessarily provide you with all the details because it's kind of hard to figure out. Essentially, he has phases. Malzeno, the new Malzeno that we're expecting, will be a variant. He will have phases, whether they are elemental or not. That was just a theory that I provided. Some people said it was dumb. Some people said it made a lot of sense. But again, that's just a theory on my part. I don't know because we don't necessarily know what these phases actually mean. Does it mean that he fights differently and that's just what the phase change means? Does it mean that he used brand new elements or different elements that he's not used before in the past? Does it mean that, you know, he's actually doing different things that we haven't seen him do before? New attack patterns? Well, that seems to be the case because, like I mentioned in that video, 30 plus new attack animations, new turf wars are exactly tied to this new Malzeno variant. So of course, you know, we expect him to have different things. A lot of people have suggested maybe he's just a risen. That's not the case. He's not a risen Malzeno. He never will be risen since he took the power of the cube for himself. Based on the story, he didn't have to overcome it like Camelios, Kushala D'Ora, Risen Teostra, or Risen Crimson Glow Valstrax, and presumably Risen Shagaru Magala as well. He's not in that same tier. He's above that. That's the interesting part. So this one is going to be his very own unique thing. Whether Amatsu is ultimately the last closer or they put this Malzeno EX as the final closer, we don't really know, but of course it will be interesting nonetheless. And to close everything out, of course, there is this entire thing with Volcana. Whether Volcana gets risen, whether Volcana gets an anomaly investigation, I went over through that in the entire video, link in the description below. Once again, as I explained all of that, we don't quite know what it means. We know it has a curious burst. We know that it has a brand new type of icon with some overlays on top of it, but again, it's not finished product. It's in the mines, therefore we don't actually know what it means. It's just different things. At the end of the day, you know, the mines can only suggest a couple of things. They don't really give us a very clean picture all the time, and this one, when it comes to Volcana, that certainly seems to be the case. We don't have a very clean picture as to what it could possibly mean. Now, a couple of clarifications. I have some questions that I've had asked in the past few videos, was like, what exactly is happening with anomaly investigation levels? Are we getting more levels? Are we going to be able to go to like grind to 300? I don't know. That doesn't really show up in the mines at all. It doesn't get suggested that it will. Now, it does seem to be tied with another question that I did want to answer. What is happening with the last two Apex monsters? I believe it's Apex Diablos and Apex Snogre finally appearing in Master Rank. And that seems to be like something that we can expect there to happen. And presumably, if the levels get raised or not, it won't really make a difference. Now, you would wager that, you know, every single time that they have included brand new Apexes as part of like the secondary monster in an anomaly investigation quest, they have raised the level tier. So maybe they raised the level tier to 240 or 250, and they'll leave it at that. So therefore, they can justify adding brand new, you know, Apex monsters as part of this thing. We don't really know. That's just ultimately, that's not something that we know. But presumably, yes, they will be appearing. One of the things that I quickly did touch upon in that other video was, are we getting Anomaly Investigation, Lucent Nargacuga, or Violet Mitutsune? And the answer is no, that is not going to be the case. Those hazard quests that they already have in the game based off of their event quest that we already have, that seems to be the last and most difficult version of those monsters we are going to get. They will forever remain standalone. They will not be appearing through normal Anomaly Investigation quests for whatever reason. I don't know why Capcom chose to go that route, but that seems to be the way it's going to be. Also, a lot of people did ask me, will Crimson Glow Valstrax and presumably the new Risen Shagaru Magala also appear as anomaly investigation quests? We know that Risen Crimson Glow will appear. We don't know if Risen Shagaru will. There's no suggestion on that. Again, they're not it's not, all the information is not clearly there. You would wager that it is, especially if they raise the levels, but of course that remains to be seen. So I think that pretty much goes over pretty much all the information that I have for you guys regarding the 5th free title update presentation. Once again, this one will be about 10 minutes long. It will not be a relatively long presentation on April 19th, which of course is next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. East Coast time, 3 p.m. British Standard Time. I will be putting, of course, my reaction video like everyone else will at the same time, and just giving my feedback on, yep, this was right, this was right, this was right. Usually that seems to be the case, even though a lot of people seem to pretend that I always get things wrong. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up, and as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.